You're listening to the Heartless Podcast, or the Heartless Podcast. I'm your host, THK, the Heartless Knight. And this week, we'll be talking about corruption. Not to be confused with corrosion. Corruption. Imagine a big Cheeto in an officer's uniform or a suit with a red tie. Yeah, whatever trips your trigger. And also this week, I'd like to welcome our new intern, Dylan, who, compared to Jimmy, is just much more attractive and has much better comportment. And I wish you folks out there listening could see Dylan because, so he reminds me of Luke Perry mixed with awesome. I don't know how to better explain it than that. Is that a thing? Okay. Well, Dylan, if you would, kindly conduct the orchestra. Corruption. Well, if you've been watching the news, it's a word you may have heard lately. Who knew there was so much corruption everywhere? Intelligence community, the White House, the presidency, Europe. Boy, that corruption sure seems to be just everywhere. It's something the average person might not even think about, which is good because it's probably worse than when you hadn't thought about it when you do. Like with most unsavory behaviors or thoughts, it always starts small, sometimes even in our own communities or neighborhoods. That helpful guy down the block who seems to have money but never a job, well, for all you know, he may be surreptitiously filming his girlfriend's teen daughters when they shower for the purpose of selling said videos. I know, he seems so nice, always so helpful. Even so, must we be on the lookout for corruption just 24/7? Well, I'm glad you screamed that in panic. No, there are very capable people who already work in our community looking for it, and most are pretty good at their jobs. Now, unless you're slapped in the face with corruption, in which case it is definitely your duty and responsibility to see that said corruption finds some kind of end. Tell somebody, don't keep it to yourself. I'm not saying, if you see something, say something. All right. This isn't 1950 and I'm not George Orwell. But don't just quietly store that stuff away. We've been doing that for too long already. 2020 is going to be the year of the voice because, thanks in good part to our younger citizens, by the way, we're going to begin using our voices again. For instance, are you happy you're paying the power company exorbitant fees for the same 200-year-old service? And for that amount of money, they can't even offer you an alternative to mostly coal-fueled electricity? You're paying them ridiculous amounts of money for the same product your grandparents or perhaps even your great-grandparents were offered when they were in the same situation, at least. And they can't even guarantee service. If you and 5,000 of your friends are without power at the first sign of snow in late December, well, you know what? Tough. They won't even prorate you. But you're paying stupid amounts of money for an outdated, out of touch with real world service that they've just been rebranding and reselling without one thought about 20 years from now when there's no more coal. And you let them. every day, every month, every year, year after year, and the fact that that system is corrupt never even entered your mind. Should you continue to allow them this monopoly they have on an unregulated resource potentially harmful to the fate of the world? Hell no! But THK, getting off the grid can be prohibitively costly, and even then, in certain areas, you can even be fined for it. Don't believe me? Google drinking water collection, rainwater in Florida, and enjoy the read. You're welcome. Yes, dear listener, I know about the cost of living green or off the grid, and that is exactly why you all have to yell at them at the same time and tell them you want affordable alternatives. And they have to oblige, or they're outed as a corrupt grandfather lobby that's never suffered a day in its life since it screwed Tesla 200 years. I mean, oh man. You know, let alone 4 days without heat in December. My suggestion, every community should just co-op a wireless Tesla collector and be self-sufficient in ways you've never even known before. But I'm not done with corruption. No. I'm all effing over it like a beady-eyed Adam Schiff signing off before a holiday. Hashtag Schiff can do it all day. Hashtag Manchow. Hashtag drive-by. Hashtag suck it. Oh yeah, corruption. It's a thing. Let me give you an example. Do you remember that helpful guy from down the block earlier? Well, we're going to use him in another example of common community corruption. I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey. If it pleases the court, Your Honor, I'm just a simple country malcontent, and I don't have much experience with these sorts of legal shenanigans. But now, suppose the pedo down the block is the second generation, and his daddy knew key members of law enforcement when they was just little tykes, just precocious little young'uns, snorting blow or sending their junk to a teacher or other female students. Why, I think we've all been there, Your Honor. But say every time the douche nozzle that filmed little girls in the shower went up before the court, Your Honor, his father, knowing things, had already prompted these key members of law enforcement to talk to the prosecutor's office in an attempt to make Dick Rattle's sentence less obstructive as to allow us all to just get on with our lives. Now, this is all just a hypothetical, of course. But I promise the court and ladies and gentlemen in the jury, it heads in a direction. If I could be allowed to continue, Your Honor. Well, this is highly irregular, but I'll allow it at this time because, well, you're just so gosh darn adorable. Proceed, counselor. Thank you, Your Honor. Now, in the case of our scenario, this means that this cock gobbler from down the block could get a federal felony, child pornography, reduced or even swept beneath the rug, with little justice for those dear, sweet, innocent girls who are likely to be scarred in some way for the rest of their lives, because they're just kids, ladies and gentlemen of the court. Say now, a big fella walks in. Well, that's just Cletus. Heck, we all know him. He was an emergency responder, and I think he helped save my Aunt Gertrude's life one time. Well, he must be here for a traffic violation, or he forgot to pay his car insurance, surely. What's that, Cletus? Conduct with a minor? Well, but you're a married, church-going fellow with 2 bundles of your own. How does something like this happen? Isn't it true the place you used to work didn't want big people around, and when you objected, cooked this whole thing up to get you out of the way and teach you a lesson? Counselor! I apologize, Your Honor. I retract my previous statement. But do you see how something like that might go? Well, corruption. Corruption, it's been very serious. And I think that as we wind the show down, I would like to run something less serious by you, something, just something to consider when you're in the shower having those, random thoughts. So, well, with The Rise of Skywalker being released on December 20th, my old friend, the Outrage, has again reared its ugly head, and there's videos all over YouTube about how Kathleen Kennedy and Disney are the devil, and how Solo was the movie nobody asked for.
Let me tell you, Shiny, something. You know what nobody asked for? Your opinion. Put your hand down. You're embarrassing the rest of us.
I mean, you guys say fans, but let me be as transparent as possible here. That way you're more likely to hear me above the sounds of thumb sucking and entitled outrage. You do not speak for me. Besides, are you serious? The public shaming of Kathleen Kennedy? You might as well have called the episode Butthurt Fan Babies Try Desperately to Remain Relevant. Nobody cared. I have an idea. Why don't you make Star Wars movies? You Outragers talk a lot of smack, but we all know the reason you're all so pissed off is because the Disney-owned offerings aren't really that bad, and with few exceptions, none of you could come up with anything better, and it just irks you. Here, I got an idea for you. Why don't you go watch an episode of The Mandalorian? Or why don't you try and not deny your secret crush on Rey? Hey man, I get it. She's beautiful and she has a lightsaber, all right? It's pretty hot. And most importantly, start using the qualifier some when you want to whine like children on behalf of a fan base that doesn't revolve around you or your opinion of how Star Wars is being handled. I plan on seeing every one of Disney's Star Wars movies because I waited 30 years for someone to do something with the property besides piss on all the contributions made in that time by countless writers and artists. And for what? The same tired prophesized hero idea The Matrix did better first without Jar Jar Binks or Immaculate Conception. I mean, seriously. In fact, I'm going to see all the movies twice just to vex you. Okay? Find something positive and constructive to do with your time and contribute to the planet. Okay? Don't assume you're the voice of an entire demographic that's existed since before you were born, before the dark times, before the outrage. In short, sit down, be humble.
Put your hand down, Shiny. Didn't I already tell you that? It's the opinion no one asked for.
Have I made at least myself clear? After all, I don't speak for everyone. So, I'll see you at the Rise of Skywalker. I'll be the one with the bandolier made out of the scorched carcasses of Outragers. Okay? Signed, THK-0419, Veteran, Starsider, Tatooine Garrison, Loka, Black Company, BC, Hoorah, KKL, Inquisitor, and the original owner of the name CAD, as it pertains to Star Wars. See my Wikipedia entry for details. Oh, and
tell your mom I said hi.
You've been listening to the Heartless Podcast. I'm your host, THK, the Heartless Knight. And as ever and as always, have a nice day, and unless you're an entitled, whiny man baby who's pissed off about the next Star Wars movie. In which case, you can just
move along. Move along.
Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll see you on the next podcast.